Tango 1 at the top, we are at Papa Coco. 10-4, Tango 1, you have control. Tango 1 copy. Stand by. Stand by.
Integrity, passion, resilience. That's what this place was built on. That's what our community is founded on. Don't act like the example, just be the example. This is the home of the greatest fitness community in the world. We're trying to create strong, able bodies, resilient to injury with a gas tank to get shit done. If there's one thing from this podcast, it's about taking immediate action. Find the problem, fix the problem. This is your opportunity. It's either a hell yes or a fuck no. It's that simple. You're ruining the Tango 1 podcast. Now is the time to take action. Now's the time to do more and be more.
We can get that stuff in, but
Yeah.
that's the clap. That's the official.
Oh,
That means like we're actually
We're
like,
on
yeah,
now.
like it's how we sync everything together apparently in the industry.
okay. The clap.
Yeah, we're cinema. I can't even say the word.
Cinematographers.
Cinematographer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big word.
Yeah, so back to the cement board. Cool story. I have a good friend who took interior design in school, and she I came when we were moving out of the gym. I'm like, hey, like we have no money, extra money, so we need to design like my office and this gym without buying one thing. So you have to like salvage everything from there. Tell me what to bring. I'll spend the extra time to bring it. So this was like my background, my old office. So she's like, bring that, bring this, and bring this, and then like she came up with this incredible idea. And,
That's
like,
a solid challenge.
yeah, and like made it look
respect
like it looks cool in here, right?
So this was all leftover stuff from the last.
It was
gym?
all stuff that was on the walls. That was
That's
like this was
perfect.
in the studio, the podcast studio, a different way, and this was an office wall. And we built the main beams, and
Love it.
these are kegs. Honestly,
yeah.
like these are actually
Weights on
commemorative kegs though from GL Heritage. We did all those charity work with us. They got little print things on them, but like where do we keep a keg in the gym? So
Don't you just like
here they are.
Here.
Here they are.
You're at a gym, you
Podcast
just pick
room.
it up and put it down. That's like part of the workout.
Yes, we
I
can.
pick things up and put them down.
Yeah, that's all you do here. Welcome to the gym.
Okay, welcome to Second One Podcast, everybody. We got Mike DiPasquale, my co-host as usual, and our guest today is Kass DiPasquale from Kass Design Studio,
Well done.
and she is here to kind of just like obviously have some fun. She's already started it. It's pretty. I think it's gonna be a pretty easy conversation. You don't seem too nervous.
No.
0,
No.
0,
0.
0. All right.
Yeah.
0.
0, 0. All right, let's get rolling. So, Kass, like, tell us like a little bit just about your business and like what you do, and then we'll see where it goes.
Okay, so I mean, I've been in the industry for a solid 9 years now, just in interior design and construction, and I worked. I feel like once I got into it, I mean, I was at flooring stores and cabinet places. I worked for a commercial designer for a chunk of time there. I learned a lot from her. Yeah, and then essentially COVID hit. I was working for somebody else at the time, and between having to homeschool the kids, whatever that meant at the time, and trying to run my business and all those things, I was like, screw it, let's just go on my own officially. What's holding me back except myself? And yeah, so since pandemic, I've been Kass Design Studio officially, and I focus on anything interior, remodels, renovations, new builds. I just met with somebody today to do another commercial job too. So
Very nice.
yeah.
It's crazy to think that like it's only been since COVID that like you and I have even met. Like I feel like I've known you for a very long time.
I know.
But on that personal level, not personal, like that professional level, I just met you kind of. Like that was only 4 years ago.
No, but it was pre-pandemic that you and I met.
Yeah, but like if you think about it, like when we first met, I think it was when you kind of start. Like I met you before, but like during COVID was.
I mean, that's when I started to bring you on to a lot more.
Yeah.
Right? For sure. Yeah, because I mean, I had started out just decorating and doing home staging and the light stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got into the renos and stuff, I think that's when you and I really got a
Well,
chance
you're
to work
probably
together.
limited. Your ideas are limited to the execution of your plan, right? Like, you can have these great ideas, but if you don't have people who can put them together, is that like
Yes.
that's got to
Yes.
be an issue with
Big time. That
you
was
know,
seriously the
in a smaller
conversation I
city.
had.
We're a bigger city, but a smaller
Yep.
big city, I'd say.
Yep, I find a lot of the people I was working with in the past, although like really good at their craft, but just didn't look at their craft as an art form. It really, really is art. And so if you've got just a little bit of that creativeness in it, then you can take on the new challenges. And so I'd come up with these ideas, and all I kept hearing was limitations, and I'm like, well, I don't accept that. So it did. It took a solid amount of time to find people who were willing to run with my crazy ideas.
And do you do any of the execution? Like, do you do any of the construction part on your own ever? Like,
not really. Like, I know how to tile. You know, I can use all the tools, but no, I don't really do it myself. So I'm not the. There's one girl I follow. She's a badass. I'm gonna butcher her name, so I'm not even gonna say it. But she does all of her own work. She works on Wall Street Monday to Friday, and then does these like 3-day weekend jobs, and she does all the construction and work herself.
really?
Yeah. So like, hey, I've got mad respect for it.
Yeah.
She kicks ass, but
That's crazy.
it's not really, because I get stuck in perfection. So I'd much rather have somebody who already knows than me trying to sit here and learn it. And it's one way in my head, and then I'm going to do it myself. It's like, this isn't what I wanted it to be. So
It's funny when you talk about the perfection, or sorry, the art form in the trades, because like we were talking about this a couple weeks ago too. Like, your electrician could be an artist. Your plumber could be an artist. The HVAC guys, artists. Like, if you look at back in the day, look at like the 1800s, like your street lights or whatever they used back then. There were lamp poles, whatever, right? They were beautiful. Everything was beautiful. The railings were beautiful. The curb was beautiful. Everything was beautiful. Like, nobody puts the time and energy into that anymore. And it removed the art from everything, to the point where like the gym equipment in here could be like Art Deco. Ridiculous. Crazy, right?
Well, both of us, we found ourselves in the Fox Theater this week.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Have you been to the Fox? I was
haven't, but I
like
could imagine.
absolutely blown away.
That's my first time ever being in there, and I was like,
It was
those are
wild. Like,
hand-painted.
it's the most beautiful place I've ever been. I've been to a lot of
now
places.
we see it and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Would I have appreciated that 20 years ago? Probably not. But yeah, it
My
was.
mind was blown because I'm like, somebody hand painted these little lines in between the grooves of the trim.
Yeah.
50 feet in the air on this little tiny thing, and there's like a 900 pieces up there. I'm like, it just blew my mind. Like, I was like, Lisa was watching the show, and I'm like, are you seeing the trim work?
You're doing like an episode of Is Your Wood Good?
Yeah.
Where's Mike? He's over there recording.
He's
his
over
show.
there seeing somebody's wood is good.
That's
He's got
so
the
good.
usher holding his camera for him.
Yeah, just hold it. Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Speaking of, like, this is episode 6 with you, and do you think this perfection? How do you think of a coffee table? Is it good? Do you think if you had like
It's great.
one of the
What do
one
you
of the most
mean?
talented carpenters in like the
Oh,
city,
are
I
you
didn't
saying
make
it
that.
could
an
be
artist,
better?
Yeah,
that
make
this is what we should have as a coffee
Well,
table?
who made this?
Not him.
Tony did.
But my point is, like, you should probably,
I should probably help out.
every week we put our feet on this freaking
Oh,
thing.
so you want me to give him shit with you?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
like-
you
trying
want.
to make fun
Well,
of me.
Mike, come
I thought I
on.
had legs. We had a tabletop. We don't have the legs. I gotta get legs.
You're so pumped to tell me we had a table coming too. You're like, I got the legs. We found the legs.
No,
Zero.
We don't have nothing. We got nothing. I gotta make legs now. But it's all good.
But that's honestly, I'm actually glad you brought it up, because obviously I think about things all the time. But that is just the difference between the perfection and functionality.
Yeah,
Right?
this works.
It works. So,
Keeps my feet up. Yeah.
right? It does the job, and we're the ones that get stuck in our head about
So
it could be better.
So going back.
That
to
was us like trying to plan out the podcast. Actually, today, like the bigger picture of the podcast is like, I think would you say we're nitpicking too much or something? I use like an old man word.
Yeah.
Like I should have given you my sweater. Nitty gritty.
So like it goes like you talking about this coffee table though, and the functionality of this coffee table, it works. And
Yeah.
looking at the trades guys, they're like, this plumbing works, this electrical works. It's like, yeah, but like your lines aren't even straight. Like why? Like obviously plumbing needs to go downhill, but like electrical lines, like those should be perfect. Like I've seen, and I'm saying this because I've seen in some of the homes that we've been in, I've seen the most beautiful utility rooms where the copper pipe is so beautifully ran. Like it looks amazing. It's an art piece.
I know.
And like this sounds crazy, but when you actually see it, you're like, damn, this is nice. Everything is nice. Everything is perfectly straight.
Yeah.
The wires are run right. They're not twisted. They're not bent. Like.
And labeled and color coded
And you know
and
what?
just
Like,
thought out.
It's the stuff that you don't even get to see in the house, like, right? Like, those details, being an artist, like, because that's where my mind goes, I see that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people see details, and I don't think that they realize why they like it so much until it's pointed out.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to deal with that where where you have to show, like, point out the details so your clients understand what they actually have?
Yes, every time. And I love it. Like, that's my job. But it's a lot. So when you are doing an entire space and I'm looking at all of those, 1/8 of an inch, 1/2 of an inch, like the smallest areas and spaces, and I can see how it can get really monotonous for my clients, right? Where I'm talking about each individual detail, and by the end of the day, they're just like, I'm exhausted. Like, I trust you. Just, that is like music to my designer ears. Whatever you think, I trust you.
The best.
That's so awesome.
That's the best.
And so, yes, I find myself oftentimes having to go through this whole story, and I'm like, do they even understand and appreciate? I don't know.
So, like, it's funny you say that. So we were in Shinedown Hotel a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, what makes it feel so what makes it feel so amazing in here, right? Because, like, you got wood floors, you got wood this, wood that. It's like, but you don't actually know what it is that makes it feel high class and, like, fancy. But what is it?
It's the vibe.
It's
so
the vibe?
Yes. So I say this, like, I'll get into clients' homes and I will ask probably what seems like the most ridiculous questions, and it's, how are they going to work in this? How are they going to use it? Where are they going to sit? What are they going to be doing? And then, how do you want to feel? It will always come back to how you want to feel in the space, because colors and textures and all of those things affect how we feel and how we move, and the function even affects how we feel and our attitude towards things. So it's essentially like, they didn't just go in and pick out a floor. Oh yeah, I like this hardwood floor. Great, let's do it.
Yeah.
Someone thought out how all of those pieces were going to work together, and then they thought about the people who were going to be in that space and how they were going to move and flow within it.
Well, I can't wait to show her my thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does this have to do with the morning wood?
Well, play your cards right, but
Yeah.
I try to save that for Mike. That's why we do the solo episode before the guest comes in, but never know who the guest is going to be. So
You never know.
we don't want to paint ourselves into a corner. Yeah, no, like the thing I've got, the project that I've got that I'm going to show you later on, or in the next couple weeks. I think it's like, I'm pumped for it. I think you'll be super excited. I'm going to bet that you've never done anything like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So when you were going into this, did you have, like, I always find, like, being a person who kind of quit my, like, $100,000 job to chase my dream. Mm-hmm. And then every once in a while we get somebody and they'll come up to me and they're like, I quit my job, I'm going all in. And I'm like, I hope you realize that I did both jobs for 3 years and, like, used my job that I wasn't so happy in to fund the job I was passionate about before I made the switch. Like, did you have that period in between, or were you one of did you jump in with no life jacket kind of?
Probably a little
girl?
bit of both. So when I decided
You're
to
Italian, so you might not be able to swim, so that's a good question.
I can swim just fine.
All right.
We were all
One of those.
privileged. We grew up with pools around here. I want to say a little bit of both. Like, when I decided to get into the industry, I was still working in corporate. So I was in finance before getting into all of the creative stuff. And I had sort of what I felt reached my limit with personal finance. Like, I had my mutual funds license and I was doing mortgages and loans. And it just, if I wanted to take the next step, cool. But what was that? And I didn't really want to be a financial advisor and whatever. So we had bought our first house at the time. And although I didn't get to design it, we were still doing construction projects and little things. And so at the time that I decided to make the career jump, I sort of did both. So I was part-time at the bank and then started part-time with my business. But I was still working for people. So there was a solid chunk of time where I was working for other people in the industry and then had my business on the side. But that was me just being scared. So that's where there's this level of, then COVID happened and I essentially went all in. So it was a little bit of both, I want to say.
That's interesting. And do you have formal education in the design space?
So I got my interior design diploma.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have 2 diplomas?
Yeah, essentially.
2-0.
Yeah.
2-0 over here.
Yeah, but those did not give me anything that the real world could have given me. Like,
right.
No, if you're going to do it, I wouldn't let formal education stop you. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing with what we do too.
It's experience.
Yeah, it's like you could go to school.
Education's a tool. We can't.
Yeah,
sure.
Like, it helps.
100%.
But it's not everything. That's for not in this industry at least, or my industry. I'm sure.
I feel like in most industries, because like even with like reading books and stuff, like it's knowledge isn't power. Knowledge applied is power. So like, if you're getting the knowledge from experience or going to school, it's either you're paying for school or you're paying with your mess ups.
Yes.
And then you're learning that way. So you're paying somewhere down the road. You're paying for that with dollars.
It's true.
Fixing your problems or going to school. But I feel like with school, it doesn't teach you half as what you're going to get from experience.
Yeah.
Being in whatever.
It should give you like the roots of it, right? And then go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a person who has very little education, but it is funny how you like what you learned in other areas does help. Like you're saying finance, like tell me finances doesn't help. I wish I had a
100%
finance background.
Yeah.
I'm like this morning, like punching through my like, my Monday or yesterday was my Monday morning like bank review that I do and all that stuff. And for me, it was I took architecture. And how much is architecture? You would think it helped zero, but like when I was a cop, it actually helped me huge. Like for SWAT, like if I knew where the bathroom was, like where are you gonna get rid of drugs? You're gonna flush them down the toilet. We could, we can make a plan to take that bathroom. Where are people gonna be in the middle of the day? They're gonna be in the living room. Where's the living room in the structure? So it was like this like stuff that I barely paid attention to in school that all of a sudden was helping me in my job.
And a completely technically unrelated field.
Yeah, and then
That's
when we moved into this space, having just a little bit of an understanding of CAD helped me with laying out the gym because we are condensed in comparison. So it's like really funny how like skills you learn that you probably took for granted. I know I did back then. It was just something I picked just for the hell of it, just because my parents made me pick something. Yeah. Right, and never graduated in, but it applies and it's learned and helped me over and over again in life. It's really weird.
It's not though. So maybe the right word is like serendipitous in some sort of fate capacity, because for me, I can say that everything I did in the past, I mean, I even had a stint working in marketing and advertising. And so everything I did, it applies now, like heavily, right? Whether it was the flooring store, the finance, I took I was a fashion merchandiser when I lived out west for a solid chunk of time. And so being able to take everything in all of those, it just keeps applying to your life. And whatever, like you have to make it apply.
It's the book Outliers, right? Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers. I think that's the same idea. It's like everything you did led to this in some kind of way. Interactions, meetings, like
So is there a word for it?
I don't know. I don't even know what serendipitous means, but like somebody Google that.
It has to do with fate.
Yeah, it sounded awesome though. I'm gonna say that's probably the right word.
Yeah.
2 degrees. 2 degrees gives you the clout in this room. So.
Perfect. We'll run with that one.
It's that life experience that like you can't get that from one place. You know what I mean? I was talking to somebody the other day about like he's giving me like this like text message of all these different jobs he's worked at. He's worked in here, worked in there. He's managed this. He's supervised that. He's done all these weird things. Just like guys like my age, just like how you've done something different every year. It's like, but you package that all into a nice package. It's like you've got a lot of skills, man. It's that life experience that you can't just show up one day. You can't go to a school. You can't read one book. It's a mixture of everything. And if you just it's like the full package. You got that package now. That's sweet.
You got that package.
Package that with the thing in the morning wood.
Also, speaking of, you have kids. So that also like for sure plays into your effectiveness in your job, because
big time.
I feel like Danny and I, it's a good example. We moved into a house when we first moved to Amherstburg, and we thought it was our forever home. Beautiful pool, like a huge bar, entertainment room, TV, like a studio in the basement to watch like huge movies on. And we were out of that house 8 months after the kids came. It was just like nothing was working. Like it wasn't the only reason we left the house, don't get me wrong, but like functionality, it was like, oh my god, this is so wrong. And then we're ripped out. We had this massive bedroom in the basement, which was perfect when we were on shift work, but it was terrible when we had kids because we couldn't hear them upstairs.
Okay.
There were just so many things behind that we would have never thought of. And hopefully you're able to go in and like you get a new couple with a new home to almost help them in like, hey, you're thinking of this today, but what about 2 years from now?
And
or 9 months from now?
It has been a little bit of an awkward conversation. I did have one couple, and I was like, okay, guys, listen, your personal choices are your personal choices, but I'm just curious if you're having children. And it was the weirdest thing, because like that's sort of a question you get from like a family, where you guys having kids yet? Like, when is this happening? But I needed to know in order to properly give suggestions and advice. And so I do ask that. How long are you planning on staying in this home for? Because if you're going to sell in, let's say, 2 to 5 years, yours, well, then there's going to be certain things that I want to make sure you're okay with and you understand what the consequences are from a selling standpoint. So yes, I often ask about the kids, and it just goes right back to how things are going to function and work. And yeah, being a design mom has its advantages, that's for sure.
I would think.
How often do you have to like not so much bring someone back to reality, but like fight them on their own choices, being like, I know this is not going to be good for you. Is it often, or do you just kind of give them whatever they want?
I'm trying to think of like
And
specific.
have you turned down a project for any reason? Like maybe if like just make that that question a little bit broader.
That's
Give you
yeah.
I don't think based on that necessarily. Usually if I'm turning down a project, it's usually a vibe thing. If there's yes, if there's any sort of impatience to my design process or just my availability, then that's only going to magnify itself when something's on back order or something's not available, and it's
all your fault.
It's always my fault.
Yeah.
And like, listen, if it's my fault, I will take full accountability. But I don't make the cabinets, guys. Like, I can't control it. So yes, to answer your question, I usually go, I've not taken jobs based on vibes, and I'll just price it really high and go from there. But ultimately, like, I do find myself being like a mediator in marriage sometimes. So I try to give them the best of the both worlds. And at the end of the day, it's not my money and it's not my house.
Yeah.
So I feel like my role, yes, I'm going to make it look good. That's a given. But I want you to understand what the consequences are for the decisions you're making. And that's it. So as long as you understand and you're like, okay, well, we're doing it anyway. It's like, okay, sign here, please. Kass told me not to.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
you must keep pretty documented
Oh,
notes,
yes.
right? Like a cop.
I've
like
also
I used to have to
learned.
when I was a cop. Yeah, never
Oh,
thought
yeah.
of that.
Yep. I document as many conversations as even I can remember.
Yeah, it's tough though.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're having lots of conversations, you're in the middle of something, someone calls you randomly, and you're like, trying to get like, I gotta write this here before I finish this, and then you just get.
And you've got sticky notes and notepads and write notes in your
Your
phone.
phone,
And
yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but I sometimes text message myself.
I do all the time.
So then I've got
And
text
then you
messages.
don't answer.
I don't answer myself either, bro.
Worst, this guy, man.
Yeah.
The worst.
No, you only get a text
You
message
make
back
me
at, like, 5 in the
crazy.
morning.
Yeah, I'm
It
always up.
usually is at random times from you.
It's like super early or super late.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
only time I get to sit down.
11
Like I
o'clock
wonder
at
when
night
you
or
send the
5 in the
text to
morning.
yourself if you know that yourself's not gonna answer.
You wanna know a funny
Because I
thing?
know when I send you a text, I'm like,
So
it's a 20 to 80%, like a 20% chance of success, I guess.
Yeah, it's not very
80%
good.
chance of nothing, and I know that 20% is actually it's like 2% that it's gonna be same day. answer.
yeah, it's definitely not same day like ever. I actually sometimes I text myself, and then because I have 2 phones, I got the shop phone and my personal phone, so I'll text my shop phone. And like the second I press send, I'm like, oh, my phone rang, and I'll pick it up. I pick it up, and I'm like,
Oh, shoot.
it's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just me. I thought someone else wanted to talk to me, but it's just me. I'm not gonna answer this.
So I'll give a little bit of a plug here because I feel like macro foods is just feeding my body these days. But I do that with macro, so I get their points. So I give them my phone number every time. And
Oh, yeah.
Right, my phone's
Same.
just in the car.
Yeah.
And then I come back in the car. Oh, someone messaged me. Oh
Yeah.
no, it's just my
And you
macro
got the-
points.
Yeah, the 2 points. I know. I used to do that too. That's so funny.
Yep.
That's
Get
so
all
funny.
excited. Our dopamine hit.
Yeah, I got.
They do have a great product though, right?
They,
Like
yeah,
I love it.
macro
some of their stuff lately has been even better too. Like there's some of their newer
Their
recipes.
food is stupid good. Like I love it.
Yeah, we just did a giveaway with them. It was super popular with
Yeah.
people. They opened a new one on Dougal. I think it's Omar opened that place. He's awesome. He was an awesome guy. And they're like the food though, man. We use it for your parenting. Like when we're going on tournaments.
Yep.
Tournaments
Oh, that's a
that's
great
my
idea.
like go-to. Like you know here and there with the kids, we'll grab. They love the lasagna. We'll grab that. It's like a treat for them. But like we're going on a tournament. It is. I like stock my whole cooler with it. Because all the parents are eating pizza and whatever
Yeah.
else. I just whatever they want to do is fine, but like I can't do that, and my kids are not doing that either.
Not the whole time.
Right. Yes,
Like,
yes,
Not
yeah.
the whole time. I can't have
Yeah, like
pizza
one
every day.
Saturday night, have some pizza, sure. But
Yeah.
like for 3 meals, we're gonna go to Boston Pizza, then we're gonna go to like
No.
whatever the other place is. Oh man, I can't do
It
it.
makes me feel like shit. If I
Can't
eat
do
like
it.
shit, I
Yeah.
feel like shit. So if I don't
Yeah,
want to feel
can't
that
do it.
way,
Just
then I can't eat like shit.
To get my protein, I need 2 meals, though. That's the problem. That's where. Here's where the problem
in one?
lies.
Yeah, in one. Yeah, that's
the
exactly.
problem
You need
lies.
2 of them, and then like.
So perfect for like your body weight, right?
They're great. I'm stuffed.
My kids, my
Sometimes
wife.
I'm even
No
cut
way.
them in half.
Me, I'm like, I'm like 2.
You know?
But delicious, man. Delicious
So good.
and a healthy like option. I love them as snacks too. Breakfast. Oh yeah. Crush them. Crush them. You used to live on those things.
I used to live on
They're
those
not paying us for this, by the way.
No,
I
no,
know
no.
this is not a
Yeah.
sponsored
But we do love,
anything.
we do love them all. We do love
Thank
them.
you, Macro.
Yeah.
But let's switch it up. We were talking about that. Let's go to, you were talking about LMNT and
Yes.
sodium and stuff. Like I think
Yes.
that was a great something to talk about, and we do sell that here. Talk to Danny if you want to get it.
I did
But
not
yeah.
know that, actually.
They're my favorite. I mean, for a chunk of time there, I was just so little salt packets, and you put them in your water, and it. From what I understand, like I was drinking a lot of water, but then I'm researching and reading, and everyone wants to feel good, and plus we're getting old and metabolism and all of that, and so. But what I was reading is we're still not getting our minerals that we need from the water, so that's
Right.
why we're going to the bathroom so often when we're drinking so much water. And so that's what sort of sparked it for me, plus the energy, plus the magnesium, like everything that's in it. So yeah, I get the little salt packets now, and like we were talking about, I think I might do the chocolate ones and give myself my
I feel like
emotional
it's like
support
one of those
beverages.
products where you're like, I didn't even know I needed this so bad.
Yeah.
You know, like when you start, I've been doing salt in my water for a long time, and
Yeah.
but also drinking so much water in a day, like, man, it's like almost like I really look forward to not just the salt, but a little bit of flavor in my
Just the
water.
flavor.
I'm not a person who's
Salt.
putting
Yeah.
meal or anything in my water. I'm not a big fan of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but that's
And
salt
no-
and like,
I don't know about you guys, but for a chunk of time there, it was the salt is bad, not too much salt,
Oh.
not too much
Oh, it's-
sodium.
it's constant,
And
yeah.
now it's the complete opposite, and I'm like, salt this bitch. Like,
Yeah.
give me all the salt
Yeah.
I can get, because from
I saw
what I
something
understand.
online that said, don't blame the salt for what the sugar's doing.
Yes.
And it's like, well, that's pretty obvious, right? Like the sugar's what's doing all the damage. The salt's just like, like you can't, like your body's not even absorbing the water that you're
Yeah.
drinking because your body's not like able to take in the nutrients and stuff.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's completely accurate. I'm not.
I know, we're not doctors here,
no,
guys.
I mean, we're
okay?
stepping out of our lane a
Get-
little bit. Like that
get your
does have
own-
like a huge
your own
amount to do
advice.
with it. Is like the higher your body is operating, like the cleaner your body is operating, the more it's sucking in, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is like, I'm getting way out of our lane, but like carnivore, everybody's like, oh, what about your fiber? Well, fiber is a means of helping to filter out all the terrible things that it's not necessary. It's there for the purpose of filtering out. You have so much shit you're taking in. When you're not taking in so much shit, the fiber doesn't have much of a purpose.
Right.
Right. It doesn't have as much as it needs
Well, I
to
think
it. So
the
there's
whole point is like one thing is not going to do it. It's everything working
Exactly.
in tandem.
exactly.
And it's going to sound so naive of me, but like even with our body and the pain and the things that we do, my massage therapist kept saying like, but it's all connected. I was like, why when I do this, I feel it in my back? He goes, because it's all connected, Kass. Like
It's one-
you don't
yeah.
just have back pain. Like it's probably the symptom of, not a strong core or ligaments here. It's probably the opposite end of your body. And so the same thing with our nutrients and
Yeah,
minerals. They
for sure.
all work together.
It's such a journey learning all that stuff.
And I've been like so easy, like same with people quitting their jobs. I'm not like I'm not trying to get people to go on carnivores. You have to be very like, think about this a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
Is it
like,
gonna
do
work
you
for
feel
you?
good off carnivore? Yeah, I do. But also in this last little bit, I've quit drinking. I've been focusing on stretching. There's so much, like the nose strips. We're talking about the nose
Yeah.
strips. Like I'm like sleeping with this stupid nose strip on, like I'm going to a football game and I'm sleeping better. But like, what is it? It's not maybe one thing. It's not maybe carnivore. I'd probably,
all the things.
all
like
the
if you were
things.
eating terrible and you went vegan tomorrow, as dumb as that sounds.
Yeah.
Hope you're not a vegan. Like
Had
that,
my stint.
that
haven't we all?
like you would feel better, like of course, because you're not taking in like terrible. So I don't. Then carnivore is the fully other extreme. Like there's got to be somewhere in the middle. That's probably the perfect, I would think. But
Well, and then
no matter what you do, you'll feel better.
I'm glad you said that though, because your perfect is not going to be my perfect.
Exactly.
So it's still figuring out what's going to work for you,
Yeah.
right? You take in all the info and then you test it out and you try it. It's like, yeah, I tried that. It doesn't work for me. So you do you. And as long as you feel better, that's great.
Exactly.
I feel better doing X, Y, Z.
And elimination, if you go as strict as possible, it's harder to kind of adhere to. But then you have a way easier time figuring out what it was
that bugged you.
that might,
Yeah.
because like sweet potatoes might not. It's a healthy food for most people, but for you it might mess up your stomach.
Yeah.
So figuring that out as you reintroduce some things is always like kind of a clean way to go.
And then right back to, it could also be something else that you have in tandem even with the sweet potato, let's say. Like the reaction of certain things I didn't realize was such a big player in the game too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna sort of butcher this little tidbit of research, but it has to do with like, I think your broccoli and the iron or something. So it's like you can take all the iron supplements you want, but if there's nothing sort of in your body that's gonna keep it there, then you might as well not be taking the iron supplements, just for example.
Right.
So just same thing with the sweet potato, and right, what else are you doing that's working together or not working together?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What have you been doing lately, Michael?
So,
Speaking of
like
anything, it doesn't even have to be health. Like
Okay,
well,
okay.
you know, health or like performance wise, like say like whole body performance or personal performance. Anything you've added different? I've added my nose strips.
Yeah, like I've
Swear
actually
by
I
them.
haven't- I haven't
Yeah.
noticed
Swear
it
by
on.
them. Because I'm getting pimple all the time on my nose from wearing these glue on my nose all night long.
Yeah, I wear those strips too, but just sticking on a clean diet. Like I pretty much cut out all my vegetables. I eat carbs and meat. I eat like 240 grams protein a day, so I'm stacking the protein
Carbs
in
and
it.
meat. You cut out the vegetables.
Cut out the
hey?
veggies.
Fruits and
They're
veggies.
kind of just like the more that I learn about, like if you're eating good meats, your nutrients are coming. That's exactly why he's able to do it, right? Like
Yeah.
he's all the nutrients that he needs is coming from the meats. He's getting it from everything else, and like this the same sort of thing. I'm carbing up still, but I'm also putting on mass. Like I'm like it's actually kind of crazy to see like my body's just getting bigger.
We'll see today.
Yeah. Well, every time I come here and I work out, I'm completely gassed.
It's like I got the 35s for curls. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
so proud of you.
Oh, I got him up to 45s, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
baby.
curling those 45s. Yeah.
And you're staying for the workout today. That's a
I'm
big
gonna
thing.
stay.
I like this little
Yeah.
tradition
Yeah,
you
yeah.
built. Like,
If you're on our podcast, you're working out with us after.
yeah, you're staying. You're
That's the
staying.
thing now.
I'm cool with it.
And it's the bad thing is it's conditioning day though. Like that's
Yeah.
the bad part about staying.
Why is that bad?
Because you're going to be drenched.
Sucks.
You might-
Conditioning
And
sucks.
it's like 70 degrees today.
Yeah.
Conditioning sucks. Oh, open the doors though. It'll be beautiful in
It's
here.
fine.
The new place.
It is
Oh,
what
opening the doors today?
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Let's
Oh, yeah.
go.
it is. I'm game.
Yeah. And what about you? Have you made any like? So the LMNT was one of them. Anything you're doing? And it doesn't have to even be like health, nutrition. Like what
Well-
are you doing performance wise?
Honestly, for me, it was just consistency. Like that's really what I'm trying to focus on. So instead of the perfection of how much exercise, it's just did I exercise? Did I go for my walk? Did I eat? Well today.
that's-
Like
yeah.
I'm just trying that to make it more of a habit, and not necessarily. Oh well, I'm not sore today, so like I'm trying not to focus on the perfection end of things.
Right.
But ultimately, the one thing I had to keep in mind too is that my body needs way different things than your body's need,
totally,
right?
yeah.
And it's not that I don't want to put on mass, but it's still not my intention. Like my intention is just strength. I just want to be strong. If I look good, then great. But again, that's going to be subjective and all those things.
I wish that women would listen a little bit more in terms of not to me, but well, maybe just me too. But like with you just said it, like you want to be strong, you don't want to gain mass. It is so hard for you to gain mass,
and
like in terms of muscle.
Yeah.
Like last
because
week I
we're
had
supposed
this.
To have more fat on us.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Like
what
your
women are
your body
supposed
fat
to
percentage
have.
is going to be higher. Like your
Yeah.
body, like no matter what they want to say,
They.
some of those people want to say, like we were created for different functions. Hate to break it to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, and so like last week I had this revelation. I went home a little bit almost pissed after talking with Paige, and not because of her. Like Paige is somebody who's lost 50 pounds. She's young, so like it's like different demographics. So it's a proof that works for somebody else. We've had Jacqueline Malash on here, the one who's all over the news with A-Rod. She's a friend of mine. She's ripped.
Yeah.
Strength training.
Yep.
All the women that you see that are being here that you've seen, like strength training. Like
Yep.
yet we're providing all these examples, and I understand you don't want to listen to me because maybe it seems different for me as a guy to say strength training. But now you're seeing all these examples of women who are like, we don't do any cardio. The only cardio we do is so that way, for our minds, because it's like peaceful to go for a walk or a
Yes.
jog.
Yeah.
It's good for your heart, right? But like all these examples, and then yet women still listen to their grandma and their aunt, who's like,
Okay.
and they're like strength training and eat more food, and they're still listening to like, let's go run more, do more cardio, get on the treadmill more, and eat more salads. It's so sad.
You because lifting weight and like weight training, you burn fat at rest.
Yeah, to a point. Like that is kind of an overrated statement. Like for the most part of how hard most people are training in here.
Okay.
And like even Lisa, as hard as she trains, even like Danny, like it's not that incredible of an amount, but it just works better.
I love it. So like, you want me to lift weights instead of go for a run? I'll do it.
Yeah,
every
easy
day.
to convince you. I'm like, that's what I want to hear from you, though. Is
Okay, so
like, how can we not? How can I get these women to listen to me?
So, I can only speak for myself. So I don't know exactly where it's coming from. I'm not going to generalize, and I won't say anything like that. But if we don't keep moving, we become immobile. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the trajectory. So when I look at my grandparents, and I love them, but they have gone on their walks. And so sure, they can still walk, but can they easily get up off a chair? And not so much, right? It's the, and someone's helping them out of their chair. And so for me, it's, I want to keep moving because, what is it? An object in motion stays in motion.
Nice.
And so it's more of like a joint thing. It's more of a, not flexibility. Oh my God, my girl just said it the other day.
Mobility?
Maybe. I think it is. Yeah. It's just mobility. I don't know why that word is so difficult for me to come up with. But yeah, so my yoga instructor that I have right now, she's huge on like just sit on the ground. Like just sit on the ground when you're watching TV and stuff, because then the way that you move is just working out way different muscles than when you're getting up off of a chair. And so it all has to do with your hips and your joints and this and that. Yeah. And so that's why I'm choosing to do it. And I realized that a lot of my back pain was coming from lack of core strength. Mm-hmm. So it's like, instead of massaging out the back, instead of stretching out the back, there's only so much of that I could do before it just came down to fucking pick something up.
Yeah. And it's funny that
lift something.
With a lot of the low back pain is coming from butt too, right? Not having a strong enough butt. And there's such a flavor of the day to get people's butts. Like if everybody trained like a jiu-jitsu fighter and a Brazilian butt model, we'd all be like way healthier. It's such a funny thing to say, and you're not wrong about what you said, Mike. Like it does. It's just like the amount. It's like micro kilojoules to, like, you know what I mean? Like it's something like, I don't want to step through. I don't know the science behind it, but like it's like, it is one thing that we sell. We say that all the time, but it's like on a person who's like training like a normal person at a normal body weight. It's such a minute difference, but it is the fact that you're just moving more and moving in a stronger way. And I do, like you said, like my mom's 65. She comes in. Sorry, Mom. Okay.
No, but she's a powerhouse. I've worked out with her.
No, she is a powerhouse. But like that's what I'm saying. That's the value in training. Is like she she comes home next week and she will be on the driveway playing floor hockey with my kids. Yep. Like we're, that is not the average. Right. I'm going to Florida. You go sit on that beach. Tell me what the average is. I myself don't want limitations. Honestly, we'll go full circle right back to, trades and what I do. And it's like, as soon as someone tells me I can't, I'm like, well, I'm going to figure out how I can. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those, well, what is my future self going to thank me for? And so when I am your mom's age and I get to play with my grandkids, it's like, oh, thank you, 35-year-old Kass. Yeah. And I would say to like your age group is like, the hips now, because like for me, it's me right now. It's hips and neck 3 times a week, trying to catch up for what I didn't do when I was your age.
It's crazy training, like not training my hips, but stretching my hips, like a mobility training on my hips. Mm-hmm. I feel so much stronger with everything that I'm doing. Like nothing hurts anymore, and I can move. Like I can piston squat. Like I can do all of these crazy.
Let's see this.
You want me to see this? I'll do piston squats. I love piston squats actually because it's a fun thing.
I don't think we should do that in your shorts.
I'll do them in the shorts. I'll do them in new shorts. 3-inch inseams.
Dude, I love it.
So yeah, like training the hips. It's because last time I did 75 hard, it was like I did 5 or 6 days of training, and I did 1 day mobility training, and all I did was for my workouts was stretch. And my workouts, like every week after week, my workouts were amazing. Like I felt amazing. Like my body just felt like I was able to move the muscles that I was building in the gym. Like it's like I'm not only just getting bigger and stronger, I'm actually able to use them now. Like my body's able to utilize what I'm building.
Yeah. Right.
And it was nice. It's nice. And honestly, stretching the hips, it's like you don't realize how many problems you're causing by not stretching your hips. And guys especially, we don't do these, promiscuous poses to get your hips all warm up your hips.
Yesterday we have a guy who's been in here doing he's called it body forging is his class, which essentially it's like a Pilates yoga type thing. We did it as a team on Tuesday. Oh my God, I didn't even do anything other than like kick my leg back with no weight. Basically is like we were in planks and yoga poses. My ass was so sore. I didn't work out yesterday. I had to go for a walk yesterday because my ass was so sore, like crazy.
I'm gonna need to see this.
It is crazy. Yeah.
You get to see the results today. I got some short shorts too.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
short shorts coming out.
It's your lucky day.
Yeah. That's funny, man. Yeah, the hip thing is. I feel like more people need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. On that
agree.
note.
Yeah.
So somebody wants to see what you've got to offer, get a quote. What is it? What are we doing? What are we selling? What are we?
It's not hip training, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Not from me. So I mean, the biggest thing, I'm still doing designer for a day. People keep asking for this, and I keep getting the greatest feedback from it. So designer for a day is what I gear towards a lot of really busy professionals and, let's say, parents and things like that who don't necessarily want to drag out their design process. I get to do everything for a renovation or new build in one single day. And of course, there's front end and back end homework that's mine for the most part, that they get within it. But yeah, so I mean, if you're looking for interior design services, you can find me on Instagram. I feel like is the best place.
Yeah.
Right? Instagram. I mean, you can send me a message. A lot of the ongoing projects are there, past projects. I'm all over the internet in a good way. And and yeah, so I mean, like I said, I focus on renovations and remodels are my biggest. But a lot of the times people are just overwhelmed with the choices. And it's like they know what they either like or don't like. They just don't know how to put it all together. And I love when people reach out to me for that because, like I said at the beginning, we're not just picking a floor, we're not just picking a paint color. It's how it's all going to work together. And not your average person knows how to make those things work together, and that's okay. That's what I come in for.
Incredible. I love hearing people. One, I love success stories. I love seeing people like as you grow. Like it's been nice to meeting you just a couple years back at Mike's Drew Large Fest, or not even like really officially meeting you, I guess. Like
I would say so.
And like watching like your growth and watching your focus also. Like I feel like there's like an increased focus on your social media and what you're throwing out there, and the authenticity too, I guess, that comes behind it, which is I always say that. It's unfortunate that we have to look for that these days, but it's definitely, you can feel it coming off you. Sitting in here today, it's just, you're the same person on there as you are here, and you're probably the same person when you walk in the house at the first design.
And that's what we were talking about before we even got on here, right? Was where professional Kass stops and starts and personal Kass stops and starts. And so yeah, hopefully you get the same version of me no matter what.
I think that's what it should be. We just what's Kass.
Yeah.
Right?
It's unapologetically you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you for coming on here
today.
Thank
you for having me.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
this
was fun.
It was good time.
You enjoyed yourself?
Always.
Good. Ready to work out?
I'm nervous now, but
hips. We're gonna go to no hips and no anything, no strength training, and we're just gonna do everything opposite of what we just said. But we're gonna have some fun doing it. Which, at the end of the day, no matter what, I hope everybody takes that message home. Is like you kind of hit the nail on the head for diet, for exercise. As long as it's working for you and you're doing something, you are ahead of the average person. So keep that up. Don't like stop doing something because we said it. Maybe try something new, but and always see, because there's always something else out there that could help you in a a way. Do
100%.
something.
Love
Do
that.
more, be more,
something.
right?
Do more and be more, baby.
1%,
Let's go.
1% better every day. That's it. Just
Over and
1%.
out.
Now's the time to do more and be more.